Arizona is not what first comes to mind when you think of creatures or the paranormal. But it's had its fair share. The Rake. The Rake is a creature that has a humanoid appearance. The entity is said to attack humans for unexplained reasons, causing severe psychological anguish to its victims. Since the 1800s, sightings and interactions with the Rake have reportedly been documented. Several diary and notebook entries have been discovered that detail the creature's terrifying attacks. At least one individual who committed suicide in the 1960s mentioned the monster in their suicide note. The Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is a creature from the mythology of various indigenous peoples in North America. In cryptozoology, the name Thunderbird is sometimes applied to huge birds. The Thunderbird is a big mythical bird with great weather-altering abilities. Reptoids. Reptoids are humanoid reptiles that are thought to be of extraterrestrial origins. One report of a group of 3 motorcyclers witnessed a reptile humanoid in the Sonoran Desert in early February 2014. It was around 6 foot tall, extremely slender, and it walked like a monkey, one witness stated. The creature waved at them with its long arms that had strange-looking claws that looked like a branch full of thorns, and a loud screeching sound came from its teeth. Then it ran away. The Chupacabra. The Chupacabra is a creature that is thought to live in North and South America. It has a habit of draining the blood of livestock to feed on. The creature's appearance is described in a variety of ways. It's said to be a large monster, about the size of a small bear, with a row of spines running from the neck to the tail's base. There has been many claims of encounters with it. The Mogollon Rim is a desolate canyon that runs roughly 200 miles, from Yavapai County to the New Mexico border, as well as defining the southern limit of Arizona's Colorado Plateau. It is located in the northern half of the state of Arizona. It has provided a vital habitat for a diverse range of birds, plants, animals, and insects, but reports dating back to the 1800s claim that a far more intriguing beast also calls this place home. Enduring accounts of a large hulking bipedal beast haunting the wilds here, along the rim and its surroundings have been known as the Mogollon Monster. The Mogollon Monster is described as a bipedal humanoid standing over 7 feet tall, with superhuman strength and big eyes described as wild and crimson by others. With the exception of the chest, face, hands, and feet, its body is believed to be covered with long black or reddish-brown hair. According to reports, it has a powerful and unpleasant odor that has been compared to dead fish, a skunk with horrible body odor, or decomposing peat moss. Many believe it could be part of the Bigfoot family of creatures. The creature is supposed to be omnivorous, nocturnal, and extremely vicious. It is said to move with large unnatural strides and leave footprints reaching up to 22 inches in length. It supposedly makes a screaming sound and prowls campsites at night. It's also thought to eat deer and other animals by decapitating them. When a horrifying tale of an encounter with the monster entered the headlines in 1903, the creature earned a name for itself. A witness called I.W. Stevens claims to have seen the monster near the Grand Canyon, and his report was published in the Williams News and the Arizona Republic. Stevens claims he discovered the monster bent over a dead cougar, likely consuming its carcass. I saw a man with long white hair and a matted beard that reached his knees, face seared and burned brown by the sun, with fiery green eyes. He wore no clothing, and upon his talon-like fingers were claws at least 2 inches long. A coat of gray hair nearly covered his body, with here and there a patch of dirty skin showing. Stephen stayed very motionless and silent as he sought to hide behind a nearby boulder, terrified by the sight of this bizarre beast, from a nightmare kneeling over a dead cougar, seemingly drinking its blood. However, whatever it was, managed to detect him, snapping its head up, towering to its full height of 7 feet tall, and uttering an ear-piercing howl, all while brandishing an enormous club. Stevens had had enough, and he ran, thankfully without being pursued by the terrible creature. He made it to his boat in safety. Cryptozoologist Don Davis recalled another early documented sighting. He was on a Boy Scout trip in Payson, Arizona, in the mid-1940s, and he described it as follows: "The beast was enormous. Its eyes were dark and difficult to discern, yet they lacked expression. His face appeared to be nearly hairless, yet there was hair around the sides of his face. His chest, shoulders, and arms were enormous, especially his upper arms, which were easily 6 inches in circumference, if not much more. I could see he was hairy, but I didn't pay attention to how dense his body hair was. The face/head was box-shaped, with square sides and a squared-up chin. Davis cowered in his tent, praying it wouldn't get any closer, and it ambled out into the dark forest, after searching around the campground a bit more. Since then, there have been sporadic sightings of the monster, most notably in 2006 when the White Mountain Apache Nation Reservation was besieged by sightings. Several people of the Fort Apache Indian Reservation were alarmed when they saw a towering black monster covered in hair, with inhumanly long arms, and marching in huge steps. Reservation Police Lieutenant Ray Burnett said, at the time, tribal police were besieged with calls from terrified locals claiming to have seen the monster. A couple of times they've seen this creature looking through the windows. They're scared when they call. The calls we're getting from people, they weren't hallucinating, they weren't drunks, they weren't people that we know can make hoax calls. They're from real citizens of the Fort Apache Reservation. Another sighting was reported to the website Cryptozoology News, by a 28-year-old lady named Estevez, who claims she saw it while hiking along the Mogollon Rim's Canyon Point route. She observed a gigantic creature that appeared like a troll bent down, sipping from a puddle of water as she walked along the route. She said, "When I spotted it, it was on its knees, sipping water, drinking and making pig noises. The animal appeared to me to be a pig at first glance. The animal turned its head and stared right at me as soon as I made a small noise. That's when I started freaking out. It was looking right at me. It's the same thing you do with cougars. They constantly encourage you to make yourself appear larger and louder, and the animal will flee in theory. So I start making noises and swinging my arms up and down, and the creature raises up on its hind legs. It had long hair, gray and bluish, and I swear it looked like one of those trolls from a fairy tale. The face was human looking, no hair on it, but full of bumps. The eyes were kind of a brown red. Thick big nose, small lips. No expression on its face at all. It then took off running like a person." Another witness said, "I spend quite a bit of time camping, because I reside in Arizona. The ideal spot to escape the heat is the Mogollon Rim, which is located in Flagstaff. When I'm looking for a camping location, I want to be as far away from people as possible. I carry everything I need, including water, toilet paper, and other amenities, so I can truly relax and appreciate nature without being bothered by the sounds of other campers. I have a raised SUV, which allows me to go where most people won't, allowing me to find the right position." We chose a forest route near Asher's Lake, and drove for about an hour along a difficult road, until we came upon a decent place beside a dried-up lake bed. We spotted a couple of wolves, and maybe some deer or elk the day we arrived, but the animals tended to avoid us once they realized we were in their zone. That night, I was resting in the tent. My dog and I had already fallen asleep, when for some reason, I awoke. I'm not sure if I was having difficulty sleeping, or if I was awakened by a noise. But I was certain I heard something. I had a handgun next to me on the ground, but I didn't dare to move. I didn't want to bother my partner by waking her up. I just laid there, scarcely able to breathe, waiting to see what would happen next. It strolled right by our tent, and continued going at a steady speed, the sounds gradually decreasing as it moved deeper into the woods. My partner was not pleased when I informed her the next day. At the time, I assumed it was a skinwalker, or something like a humanoid who came to see what was going on. I learned about the Mogollon Monster today, which is essentially a sasquatch that lives in the Flagstaff wilderness. Explanations that could explain the sightings. Creature sightings are usually attributed to hoaxes or misidentification by the scientific community. Grizzly bears have been spotted in the Arizona woodlands, as recently as the early 1930s. These might explain the early sightings, whereas other large creatures like black bears, mountain lions, and elk could explain the current sightings. Still other credible witnesses claim different, and there has been some physical proof in the form of plaster casts of footprints, and a few photos. Also, members of the Apache Nation Reservation are very knowledgeable of the animals in the area, and can easily tell the difference between an animal and something that was not. So what do you think of the Mogollon? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, please like and subscribe.